Hello, everyone, and welcome to Grip Locked, Foundation Disc Golf's weekly podcast. I'm Hunter, joined as always by Trevor. And before we get into today's episode, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors for this episode, Manscaped. You know what's spookier than seeing a black cat on Halloween? It's shaving your balls with anything other than Manscaped. When it comes to below-the-waist grooming, there's no need to carve your pumpkins this Halloween because Manscaped is here to upgrade your grooming experience. Join the 2 million men worldwide by going to manscaped.com and get 20% off plus free shipping with the code GRIPLOCKED.
Have you ever tried to trim down south and it turned into a Freddy Krueger film? Well, luckily, Manscaped is here to save the day and make sure you're smelling fresh with their new refined body wash. Fellas, the ladies love their signature scent, and it will scare away all those vampires.
Absolutely. And don't forget to unlock your confidence with the Performance Package 4.0. Inside, you'll find the holy grail of men's grooming items. They've made it easy for you to upgrade your grooming routine. Their finely tuned products feature a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 is easily the greatest trimmer on the planet. Oh, and did I mention this trimmer is waterproof as well? This thing is a shower essential. Don't forget to get 20% off.
Deep sea diving.
Don't forget to get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code GRIPLOCKED at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code GRIPLOCKED. All right, the season, it's over, just like that. It's coming, it's gone.
I listen to a lot of podcasts that go through like this like existential crisis whenever like their sports seasons.
Did you say accidental crisis?
No, existential.
There
Existential is the word. I didn't say accidental. I think I said accidental or something like that. Existential. Anyways, they go through it.
Yeah.
Whenever their sport ends, and I've never really I feel like last year, the podcast was kind of like still growing. Like it was kind of more like a side hustle, whereas like now I feel like the podcast is like a really big deal. And so like it's I don't know, it feels a lot more like significant that the season is over this year.
It's all wrapped up.
Like
although we do have some pretty fun stuff.
Yeah, that's not to say I'm not like saying this is the season finale of the podcast.
No,
we're gonna be going off season.
Last season we went into the off season with just shooting in the dark. We had no idea what we were doing.
We got plans.
This season we got some plans.
Yeah, listen.
I think it's gonna be fun.
You know where to go when you're starved for disc golf content. We're still gonna be throwing frozen pizzas at Peaksview Park on YouTube, and we're still gonna be talking about nonsense on this podcast. So you know where to go.
There's a few solid, or what is it?
Should we throw frozen pizzas?
We probably should. Which pizza flies the best?
Yeah,
it's a great video.
That'd be funny.
All right, but first, last
week,
week,
the loser has to eat one of the pizzas.
That's not even the winner gets to eat one of the pizzas.
No, that's been thrown.
That doesn't matter. It'll cook off. The germs always cook off.
You're right. The germs always cook off. That's science.
That's
the dirt doesn't quite cook off.
It'll burn up.
Yeah, I like a good char.
I cook my pizzas at 450.
I like a good Virginia clay char.
If that Virginia clay can survive it, I mean, it might just harden. Maybe it'll just be more crunchy. I don't know.
It'll just become like a plate underneath it. It's just like
there you go. You just pull it off of the Virginia clay as you eat the pizza. Last week was the Pro Tour finale.
It's not called that anymore.
Pro Tour Championship.
Thank you.
Okay, I think players were posting graphics that said finale.
Probably,
so
because that's what it was called. And I actually kind of liked that, but I mean, whatever.
Now, before the tournament started, like immediately after recording this podcast last week, we had Eagle McMahon's injury happen. We didn't cover it on the podcast. If you haven't seen it,
Would you
essentially
like to demonstrate it?
No, but not.
Okay.
If you haven't seen it, essentially Eagle was throwing like a fake out. Like it was basically like he was acting like he was running up with a backhand,
and then you
did a 360 forehand.
No, you start the backhand 360, and then midway through you go and you throw a forehand instead. It's just a weird contortion of the body.
Regardless, he was doing something kind of weird for a video. And his shoulder, originally it was reported it was a dislocated shoulder. When he posted like a longer explanation, he thinks it like slid out and slid back in. Regardless, he injured his shoulder, had to drop out of the Pro Tour Championship. When looking at the scheme of the season, not the best time to happen because it's the biggest purse, but also kind of the best time to happen because you only miss one. If it's going to happen during the season, you only miss one event.
Right. No, not a
so at least he'll have all off season to recover. There's no signs as of right now that it should be like a lasting, ongoing thing.
It didn't seem like he was making it sound like a big deal. Like I'd be very shocked if he wasn't full strength in February.
Yeah, when it first was reported and it just said dislocated shoulder, could have been a big deal.
Could have been a very big
when
deal.
he posted it and posted the video, it looked obviously like it was a big enough deal for him to miss, and it might take like a month or so recovery.
Right.
If it was the middle of the season, it'd be a big deal. But going into the offseason.
Well, and they also, like, he kind of mentioned that, like, if there was a discussion about whether he was going to play or not, which means it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, he could have thrown.
Now, the question that got brought up some by players, people were putting the blame on Jomez, which that should not happen because, like,
you agreed to do something.
You agreed to do it, and plus they were just doing like a disc golf video. So like it wasn't what he did wasn't like that crazy.
No, he wasn't jumping off of a building.
Exactly. But people were saying like should companies have in their contracts that players can't be doing stuff like this, excess stuff.
This is an interesting thing because, like, if you, like, professional athletes, like, there are, like, I remember, there was a certain player, I don't remember which player this was. It might have been Michael Jordan, there was somebody who had a for the love of the game clause, is what they called it, in their contract, which basically said, I can walk up to any pickup basketball game I want at any given time and just start playing. Like, because there are athletes who are like, it's a no-no for you to just be playing. If you're not training or playing with the team, like, it's a no-no because we pay hundreds of millions of dollars for you to perform for this team. You don't get to just go goof off. Like, that's not how that works. So it's different in disc golf because, like, I feel like disc golf companies need to encourage players to basically, they're not paying them enough to have those rights.
Yeah.
And they're also, you need to encourage players to use, like, to be able to use their disc golf talents to expand their income outside of just what you're paying them anyways. So but it could get to that point eventually. And if maybe if I'm paying Paul Macbeth 10 years, 10 million, I might think about something like that. Like, hey, by the way, unless you're practicing or whatever, like, you're not allowed to play just a random C tier or something like that. I don't know.
Well, see, on debate night, what I said I could see happening was I couldn't see any company telling players not to play disc golf or do disc golf related content because that's such a big part of our sport right now, and a big way that the sports are growing is by disc golf content and stuff like that.
You would get a big red flag on your company for that.
I could see them saying, like, putting limitations on, like, excess stuff like snowboarding, skateboarding, stuff where, like, it's more skydiving, stuff where, like, injuries are more prone to happen, and being like, hey, not necessarily like you can't do it, but if you get injured doing this, it voids your contract or something like that, where, like, discourage a player to do it. Or I could see them, if the contracts are big enough, just getting, like, insurance on the players.
Well,
like,
that's usually, I think that's usually players themselves insure.
Yeah, but I'm saying I could see, like, Discraft, like, insuring Paul's arm or something.
Yeah, like, a lot of like quarterbacks would insure their arms.
Regardless, I mean, I think the question, it's a good question of, like, will that be something we have to think about? I don't think so. I don't think we're even close to it yet.
So far down the road.
But the actual tournament itself was pretty insane. So we had Nathan Queen and Missy Gannon both taking it down, bringing home $30,000 each from this event. Missy Gannon in the final round pretty much ran away with it, but it was still a very entertaining round just because with so much pressure on the players, there never was a moment until, like, hole 17 was over, basically, that it felt like it was actually over.
Yeah.
Like, there was always just like, well, she's got to get through this hole without blowing up. Because with $30,000 on the line, the pressure it's like a pressure cooker. It just keeps building.
Yeah.
Same thing was happening for Nathan Queen, but he was having to go blow for blow with Drew Gibson and Paul for the entire final round.
It was a battle, minus Hammers.
And I think it might be one of the more exciting disc golf rounds of the season.
It was very exciting.
A lot of people were saying, like, oh, you so quickly forgot James Conrad's shot at Worlds. No, I didn't.
That round, here's the thing. That round was not crazy exciting, mostly because, and my memory's a little foggy, but Paul was kind of coasting into the finish. Like, it was exciting in the sense, but Paul,
it was like the whole time Conrad was trying to catch up to Paul.
Paul was in control of that round in the sense that he just needed to play well in the last few holes, and he was fine. And he did exactly that, and then the shot happened, and, like, that's. But other than that, like, we wouldn't have if Conrad would have not thrown that in, we wouldn't have said necessarily
that was a thrilling round.
Round was thrilling all the way to the finish. This round was thrilling.
It was just so back and forth.
There was so much back and forth.
And like, every time Nathan Queen hit a putt, Drew Gibson would hit a putt from, like, 100 feet through trees, and he's, like, running them in when they're, like, 20 feet out of his hand.
Never seen so many long putts made. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was crazy. And that's the thing is, like, Drew Gibson was, like, nailing these putts just to stay on Nathan Queen's pace, and then Paul was also staying on that pace for the majority of the round.
Yeah, and Paul had the chokehold on both of them and then gave it up.
Yeah. It was just insane. So I'm, as far as, like, tournaments this year to be on ESPN2, I'm glad that's one of the ones that's going to be there.
It's a great one.
Because it was absolutely thrilling. one of the other things too was Nathan Queen, 28 seed coming into the tournament. No bracket picked him.
That's
as
awesome.
Jamie Thomas reminded him after he won on the green. I felt bad for Jamie Thomas.
I just want to say that I don't think saying nobody picked him is a bad.
The way he
thing.
phrased it.
I didn't hear that. That's the problem.
So here's the thing. Both questions Jamie Thomas asked were very good intentions and made a lot of sense if you look at them as like...
He just phrased him. Oh, I heard
it
about...
Just the way it came out made it sound like basically, dude,
you're trash.
There's no reason you should have won this event.
Yeah.
Like no one even picked you. Your family didn't even pick you in their brackets. Like no one picked you, man. And yet here you are. That question, I agree, though. That's not that bad because it's like kind of like a motivational question.
That one I had no problem with.
Second one he was like talking about. He's like, dude, this home crowd, every single mediocre shot you threw out here, they're just going crazy.
Yeah,
and it just sounded like you just threw mediocre shots all over the course.
You got to say something like they were cheering
but
for
again,
everything out there.
I feel bad because like a lot of people were like coming after him for those two questions, which. I mean, they were kind of rough questions, but I'm sure he kind of got caught up in the moment and then's like frazzled. And the questions he was trying to ask are both good questions.
Yeah.
Of like, what did it mean to have your hometown support? They were cheering louder for you no matter what you did than anyone else. That's a good question. Yeah. But when you call a player's shots mediocre, it turns it into a bad question.
It is like a legit skill. Like if you watch like disc golf reporters and they're obviously disc golf commentary and reporting and all that. Like it's all very new to these people. Like they're figuring it out.
Here's the thing. I think Terry Miller and Nate Doss have some potential. I'm not gonna lie.
I think
they're figuring this thing out.
I thought they were that whole group in the booth. Like I could see the bright spots. If they're perfect all the time, they're good.
That's what I'm saying.
So there's bright spots. But I was saying like right now you see a lot of like whoever's like on the course like getting the post interview gets like a little frazzled. Part of that comes from the fact that they make a mistake in interviewing people the second after they just tapped out for the win.
So they don't have time to gather their notes.
Yeah, they need to be signing a scorecard, blah, 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 trophy presentation interviews afterwards or off to the side afterward. Like, shouldn't be so immediate. That doesn't help anybody's case because you don't have time to prepare your thoughts. But it just comes with experience because, like, I mean, you think it's bad trying to get like an interview after a world titles won. Like, you watch the Super Bowl and they're like on the field just like pushing through massive crowds of people to pull players aside and like have the composure to ask like questions that don't sound ridiculous. Like it's incredible. Like it is a very underrated part of journalism. Those people that get those interviews after games, you got Aaron Andrews practically elbowing people to like get to an interview with a head coach and they're like pulling them over like these big football players. Like it's a skill. It's a skill.
Yeah, I just thought I saw a lot of like random chatter about it, and I was like,
it's not that big of a deal.
No, it made me feel bad for Jamie because like the questions, I agree, what people were saying were valid, but like you got to see what he was like. He wasn't intentionally telling Nathan Queen he threw mediocre shots. Like that's not what he was saying.
Yeah,
which is kind of how it sounded.
It's over and done with.
No, yeah. The other thing,
will that interview be on ESPN too?
No, I don't think so.
Probably not.
I don't think so. The other thing, there's two other storylines that came out of this. Well, there's a lot of other storylines. There's actually three now that I think about it. One of them, which was very interesting, was the Gannon Burr situation.
Yeah.
So
I didn't even know about this.
Gannon Burr and Nathan Queen both came out of the first round. Then like second round, there's 4 rounds of this event. So it was in the third round that Gannon Burr was playing on a card with Drew Gibson. And Drew was timing him as it went through because Gannon Burr had already been warned by a tournament official in an earlier round. And then now he's on the card with Drew. And Drew had said, I think I saw a picture of like where he texted someone and he said that he had taken like over 2 minutes for like tee shots and throws on the holes leading up to Drew warning him. So then Drew calls him on a time violation, which the first one's a warning. And after that, Gannon went like bogey, bogey, bogey or something like that. And he ends up missing the cut by like 1 or 2.
He sunned him.
So
he absolutely alphaed him.
That was a question that people were saying online.
Yeah, that's mental chess right there.
Something just happened. Everything flickered. Keep talking. Check.
Talk.
All right. Keep going.
Okay, just cut in.
Yeah, that was weird. Like my screen literally just went black and pulled back up, and then it did some weird in GarageBand.
Check 1 2 check.
Okay, it's worked. Everything looks like it's working fine.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
That scares me.
So that the video recording didn't stop. Okay.
Just be like, so we're talking about.
No. So that's the question, right? Was people were bringing up that Drew Gibson alphaed him, or as you said, sunned him, or whatever.
He definitely did.
So
mental chess.
What I came up to the conclusion on debate night, because Brody was saying that's not what happened, is because Brody's whole point was he did it within the rules.
Yeah.
My thing was if he didn't intentionally alpha or sun him, but he did do it because there's no way around it.
You're 16 years old.
Smoothing on, and then he gets called for the time violation from his card, and then he goes bogey. Then he loses the round.
You're a 16-year-old kid, and you get called out for playing too slow. You probably feel bad. You get flustered. You're 100% flustered.
Yeah. Now I will say, people online were getting upset at Drew for calling it because of Gannon's 16. Gannon is at the Pro Tour finale. Deservedly so.
Yeah. Well,
Pro Tour Championship. It doesn't matter his age. And also, you can't in one breath be saying we need to call this on Nico, and then the next breath be saying how dare you call it on Gannon. The rule's the rule. You can't.
That's an awful take.
I don't know if it's the same people that were saying both, but I'm just saying the internet on one side is we better call that on Nico, better call it on Nico, better call it on Nico, and then the internet on the other side is how dare you, Drew? Come on. But there was a lot of people that were upset enough at Gannon that were thank you, Drew. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Drew Gibson did the right thing in calling the time violation because it's the rule.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it sounded like it wasn't even close. It sounded like it was pretty excessive time.
Yeah, it was excessive time.
Because I'm the type of guy where if it's close, it's in some.
It didn't sound like Drew was sitting there and
no, he wasn't
31 time.
Right, it
you better
sounded
not
like
release that.
Minutes.
No, it was 2 minutes. All right,
which
frick,
is interesting
dude. Come on.
to me.
Yeah. Other Drew Gibson storyline from the event. We'll get to his contract here in a second. Other Drew Gibson storyline from the event is. He was throwing his orange buzz,
He
a
has
madman.
3 buzzes.
But the orange one specifically.
He has orange, green, and red in there. We know this now.
His orange buzz, he was throwing all over the place.
Yeah.
And the commentary's talking about it. People were tweeting about it, all of that. And when you tweet about it, almost every time, even the comments on some pictures and stuff, Drew would correct you and say, it's not a buzz, it's a mid-range. And then at one point he said, it's not a buzz, it's a mid-range. The free ad subscription is ended. And so I actually tweeted and I said, I saw this was kind of going on, but I didn't fully get what he was saying yet. And so I tweeted and just said, gosh, Drew Gibson makes me want to put a buzz in my bag. And then he responded and said, it's not a buzz, it's a mid-range. So then it made sense to me. And so then I tweeted it again. I quote tweeted his tweet. And I said, gosh, Drew Gibson really makes me want to put a beat-in neutral flying beadless mid in my bag.
Yeah.
And then he texted me and said, I don't throw the buzz anymore, which threw me off my sync. So I'm like, wait a minute. Is that not a buzz? He has some new disc?
No.
I was like, then what's that orange disc? He's like, it's just a mid-range. And so I was like, okay, so he's just really sticking to the stigma. But basically what he was saying, because I talked to him about it a little bit after, is basically... He's like, I've been throwing and promoting the buzz so hard for 2 years. And I saw on a Facebook comment where he said harder than even a lot of Discraft's players is what he said on a Facebook comment. He's like, and Discraft won't pay me to throw the buzz. So basically that's fine. Nothing against him. But if you're not going to pay me, I'm not going to promote it anymore. Now, what's interesting to me is Drew Gibson is under contract with Infinite Discs, who sells
sell
buzzes and every other brand.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm reading that. I'm like, yeah. At first I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Good for you. And then I was like, but if I was found as Foundation, if we had sponsored a player to be an open bag, let's say Drew, we sponsored Drew, and then Drew's out there being like, no, don't talk about the buzz. It's a mid-range. I'd be like, no.
We would be ourselves.
You better talk about the buzz because we need you to sell the buzz on our site.
We would ourselves be going back and be like, no, guys, it is a buzz.
It is a buzz. We can't confirm. You can check out the Drew Gibson tab bag on our site.
It's an interesting thing because if let's say I was just a golfer getting going on tour and I was in between sponsors and I'm playing clubs and maybe I block off the logos because there's no reason to push a brand that you're not being paid
if
to
Dick's
push.
Sporting Goods is paying you
right,
to sell clubs.
But that's what I'm saying. The contract and Discraft is well within their rights to not pay him to throw the buzz.
Well, it's uncharted territory.
It's just and it's just not what they do. That's not.
Yeah.
They're no, you're gonna and I think as a company too, Discraft is probably can say to Drew, hey, our line of discs is good enough for a world champion. We can have guys throw all our discs, and Innova could say the same to him and be like, hey, you can throw our whole bag and win a world title. So why do you why we don't need to do this freelancer thing with us? If you want to be paid to throw the buzz, throw our whole lineup. And they would probably sponsor Drew in a heartbeat. So I think Discraft is well within the right to say that, and Drew is well within his right to be like, fine, I'm not gonna refer to it as a buzz. It's just my orange mid range, and that's fine too.
It's just weird when someone else is paying you.
It's weird when Infinite is paying you to sell discs. Well, and I mean, I assume that's their motivation. I would hope that, like, I would make sense to me.
I don't know what their other motivation would be.
Right, other than just PR. Because in that case, like, yeah, you want him, like, if we sponsored a player and our audience all saw that player throwing a disc super well, they're going to want to try it out. I'm going to want to try it out. Like, that's how marketing works. So it is a very
that's
weird,
where the player's value
interesting
is.
situation. It's interesting.
Yeah. And then, immediately following this event.
I bet you well, let's get into that first.
Let's say immediately following this event, Drew posts on his Instagram, says basically the caption was like October 19th, the day I signed my first multi-million-dollar disc golf deal.
Yeah, it's funny. This contract thing is going to start with like the most intense of possibilities and then slowly get down to reality.
So it starts there, multi-million-dollar disc golf deal.
Yeah.
So like we immediately start texting each other. I'm like, holy cow,
how many years would you have to sign to sign
like what on
multi-million?
earth? I'm like, I literally texted. I was like, dude, this has got to be like a $20 or $20 a 20-year deal.
My
or something.
first guess was 5 years, $2 million, and I was like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, like I was just like, I just don't see it because I knew Drew wasn't going to a manufacturer, so I knew this wasn't a manufacturer.
Right.
And I was looking at the companies. I'm like, there's no way. And so that was his post. And so I started like browsing a little bit more because I'm like, there's got to be more details. Well, then his agent,
The next set of
Instagram,
details,
posts the next set of details, which is like, congrats to Drew signing a lifetime deal with Infinite. So then I'm like, hold up,
the lifetime thing.
I'm like lifetime, and you said multi-million, which to me is like one of two things: either it's not guaranteed or it's not $5 to $10 million. So I'm like, now Drew's only like 26, 27. So now I'm thinking this is not a smart move for Drew because you just locked down a lifetime deal as a 27-year-old when the money in disc golf's just going up, and like you might be worth, like, let's say it was 20 years, $2 million. Then it's like $100,000 a year. Mm-hmm. And it's like 2 years from now, you might be worth $500,000 a year because the money in disc golf is just going up.
You never know.
So then I'm thinking, like, this could be an awful deal. What is he doing? And so then later that night, he posts on his Instagram story explaining it even more, which basically now it kind of all makes sense. It's a similar situation to when Discraft announced Paige Pierce's contract, and they said like it had the potential to be the biggest disc golf contract,
right?
But it's because there's just no cap on the contract.
Right.
I think that's similar to what's going on here. Basically, he posted that there's 2 contracts that were signed. One, him as an athlete with Infinite, and it's a single-year deal. And all he said about that was the benefits and salary are incredible.
If I had to guess, I would say he's on a year basis, he might be making 60 to 70 at the high end. Would you say?
I would probably plus royalties off of
base. I would say
stamps.
67 high end.
Yeah, that's what I would guess.
But that's the deal. So that's the deal that you guys were all thinking about.
That's what we were all thinking.
Deals. So it's a 1 year deal.
That's a single year deal.
Yeah.
Then he also signed a lifetime business deal between Infinite Discs and Gibson Industries, which includes his own line of discs that will be owned by Gibson Industries, which is him. And this, from what I understand, is the multi-million-dollar deal here. And I think it's just because of the potential lifetime sales of the discs.
Right. I think, it's just like a lifetime agreement. So really, Drew has not really tied himself to anything for a lifetime. It's just like a side thing that's like tying.
So here's what's confusing to me.
But then it'd be very weird if he played for a different
he can never play for a different company because like
he could.
Discraft would be signing a competitor.
Yeah, he's put himself in a weird spot because like, what if the money gets into disc golf huge in the next couple of years and it starts with the manufacturer? So now all of a sudden, Infinite's pay scale, which right now I think Infinite can give him pretty competitive pay to what he'd get from manufacturers, probably just as good. What if a couple years from now, manufacturers can triple, quadruple what a retailer can pay an athlete, and now he's missing out? That's where
that's what I'm saying.
Interesting. I'm sure he's got somebody negotiating on his behalf. I'm
to
sure
me
it makes sense, but
Gibson Industries has signed with Infinite to produce a line of discs
that neither of them
but
make.
Infinite discs are made by Innova.
There's a lot of middlemen there.
So that's what's really confusing to me because like There's even let me pull up this quote again if I still have it pulled
Also,
up.
he still puts with EV7, so they're probably not going to be a
So
Gibson putter.
this is the Infinite Disc owner says, this is the third year we have had Drew under contract with, this is from an Ultra Road article, with the limits we currently have in getting discs in the Infinite line, it has been difficult for us to promise much to our high profile team members, which that alone right there tells you that one single year contract with Infinite can't be a ton because he said it's been tough for us to promise a lot. Drew's connection with his manufacturer creates this opportunity for him to earn what his brand is worth.
That is
so. What the heck does that line mean?
What does that mean?
Because if his connection with his manufacturer, let's say it is EV7, so let's say it's Prodigy.
Yeah, which is Prodigy.
That has not been proved. That's just a foundation.
Like, are we
gonna
have? Imagine if we have Prodigy made Drew Gibson line Infinite branded discs. Does that not break anybody else's brains?
What I'm saying is like in this
like
quote,
I want about 4 of them in my bag.
In this quote from Infinite's owner, he's saying Drew's connection with his manufacturer.
So
then just my biggest question is where does Infinite fit into that? Where Drew's like, heck yeah, let's sign it with that.
Here's my guess. Drew found somebody who can manufacture discs that maybe isn't already doing it. Infinite is providing the expertise on the mold. That's where the combination goes. They're going to help him design the disc, and then he has somebody else. Yeah, and he has somebody else that's going to help produce it. That's my best guess. I would also almost bet $1 million if I had that much money that first disc coming out of that line is going to be very close to a buzz, and that's going to be the big kick to the face.
You think so? You think it's going to be a mid?
Yeah, it's going to be so close to a buzz, and that's going to replace he's going to try and replace the buzz so that he can just basically, just say shove it to Discraft.
I'm not going to lie to you. As details continue to come out about this deal,
this is all groundbreaking stuff.
Well, I got less and less excited. When I first see this post and it says I signed a multi-million-dollar deal, I'm like, holy frick, like the money in disc golf, like this is what we're talking about. Like now other players are, and then the next thing it says lifetime, and I'm like, okay, well now we just don't know.
And
like
it's not even,
that could be like, that's not even that big of a contract if it's like a lifetime and it's $2 million. If it's a lifetime and it's $20 million, sure. But then I feel like you would have said 20 million. And then it comes out that there's like, it doesn't even sound like there's guaranteed multi-million. It's just
Drew, if you're listening to this and you want to clear the air, just give us a call and tell us
free.
all the details of your contract.
I could be so far off, but like, the more I read it, the more I was like, oh, like it's a super exciting thing for him.
Yeah.
It's just that he led with, I signed my first multi-million-dollar deal.
He's a businessman.
He led with that.
He's a businessman,
which got my expectations
I would have
high.
done it. I'd have done it. I'd have tweeted that too. Like
I'm just saying, if
it sounds electric.
If he would have led with the lifetime, like the details, I've been like, oh, it's sick, good for you, Drew. But when he led with the multi-million and then it kept stepping
not
down,
the Drew Gibson way. And
now Trevor's just thinking about Drew watching this, and he's just doesn't want.
Yeah, Trevor's backpedaling now.
That wasn't a backpedal. I would have done it. I'd have posted multi-million-dollar deal. I would have done it with a sense of irony, though. That's the difference.
I understand.
And then it would have been like that, like space between the post, the caption and the post, and then I would have explained what it actually meant with a little LOL. I would have done it like kind of ironically, like I'm a multimillionaire from disc golf, boy, and then like throw down not actually and maybe not ever if I can't sell a disc.
I like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like it's the same. It's a similar thing to like the Page contract of like, yeah, Page's contract does have potential to be the biggest contract in disc golf if she sells more Fierces and Passions than Paul sells Onyxes and Lunas.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny when you do a royalty.
It's a marketing thing of like a huge deal. Well, because they are big deals. It's just when you make them sound bigger than they are, I get disappointed.
If you do, I could sign right now. Let's say we made a disc with my face on it and we put it on foundation. You're like, Trevor, you have no caps on these royalties and we'll give you $1 per disc. I could be like, I just signed an unlimited deal with foundation because in theory, it's possible I could make $1 million, but it's not going to happen, but it's possible because there's no cap on it.
Yeah, exactly.
No cap. No cap.
Yeah, so that's everything I understand of the Drew Gibson contract that got announced. We'll see if anything else comes out.
That's going to be the stamp design. It's going to be my face, and it's going to say no cap. And then we'll see what happens.
See, if
print on demand.
What would be really funny right now is if Drew Gibson, if like Infinite and Drew like collabed and released. If this actually happens, I came up with this idea right here on the spot. I'm claiming
claim it.
I'm claiming Trevor's intellectual property.
Okay.
Here. If they come out with a buzz that's just stamped mid-range.
Oh. Dang it, man!
That
Why'd you?
would
You
be-
shouldn't have spoke that one.
Is that too
was
good?
too easy.
That's too
Yeah,
good.
that was
That's a
too
great
good.
idea.
Should we
You
come out
shouldn't-
with the buzz? It's just stamp mid range.
Yeah, you
Yes.
shouldn't have spoke it. Hurry up! We are
Wait.
actually claiming intellectual
Yeah,
property.
we definitely can do that before they do it.
Well, the thing is, like, it takes so long to get the disc
You're
turned
right.
around right now that, like, we
It
wouldn't
wouldn't
see
be
that till next
topical
year, and it's
anymore.
not topical anymore.
Yeah.
Dang it!
But it's a great idea.
It's a great idea.
If like Drew, it was like a marketing scheme of like we already have the mid range stamp buzz ready.
This is why we need our own hot stamp.
Yeah.
It would be so easy to get a mid-range thing and just like that. Not like that. It doesn't sound like that.
All right, it's time to go to our fan favorite segment for today. Well, not just today. It's time to go to our best mediocre segment, Trevor's Trivia.
Heck yeah.
What do you
All
got
right.
for us?
We're doing a little geography today.
Oh, heck yeah.
I haven't done that in a while. So I've decided that like one of my favorite things to do. So it's so hard to gauge your disc golf knowledge with trivia that I've decided it's one of my favorite things to do to like let you set your goals, because then it's really funny to see if you're way off or not.
Okay.
So the aim of this is going to be kind of like a course knowledge sort of thing.
Yeah.
So
I've played a lot of disc golf GeoGuessr.
you're
so.
okay. That could help. So basically, I'm going to ask you first, how many different states do you think you could name out of the just 50 states in the U.S.? How many do you think you could name the name of a disc golf course in?
Ooh.
Just one course, and it qualifies for that state. How many do you think you could get? And then you're going to see if you can beat it, because that's just my favorite thing to do. It's kind of evil.
I'm going to say, because like my gut reaction was immediately 10, but I feel like I can do more than 10.
Oh, I know you can do more than 10, because you
So
can probably
I'll
get
go-
most of the Pro Tour stops. But do you know the course names?
Well, no. Well, do I need to know the state that the course is in? Because that's the hard part. It's like putting a course with a
Yes,
state.
yes,
That's the hard
yes.
part. So I'm going to say 15.
15
That's a big number.
I think you can do
I
it.
went too far. Oh, no, I failed. I already failed.
All right, let's do it. You got it.
Okay. Well, we're just going to start with La Mirada, California.
Okay, there's one.
So the tough part, too, is like I know the names of tournaments, but I need to know the course. So the next one I'll go is we'll go Dash's Track for Texas.
Texas. All right. Shout out.
I was going to go
Dash's Track.
Waco, but we'll go Dash's.
It's cooler if you name like the local underground courses.
I got to think of the Memorial Course, Fountain Hills. So that's
Darn West
Arizona.
Coast, I like this.
Because like Beaver State Fling, I got to think Milo MacGyver.
Yeah, so you got to know that one.
That's what I'm saying. I had to think of that. So that's Oregon. Wild Horse Golf Club, Nevada.
I was wondering if you get that one.
I'm trying to just stay as far away from home as possible right now. What is the fort in Utah where Worlds was? The course is called the Fort.
Is that Utah? Where the fort is? Okay.
That's where Worlds was this year.
Yeah.
I don't know the technical name. I just know they called it the Fort for all of coverage.
Yeah.
So the Fort. What am I at? That's 5? Or is that 6?
Not.
You took your hand down.
6.
6.
6.
Okay. I gotta stay in the Midwest.
Yeah, it's just called the fort.
Okay, nice. Idlewild. Now the question is that Kentucky or Ohio? It's Kentucky. Natty
Yeah.
Disc Golf Club. It's because
It
it's
is.
Cincinnati's Disc Golf Club, but it's in Kentucky. Someone just walked by our door.
You're now at 7.
I'm at 7. Okay.
A lot of work to be done. You still haven't
A
come
lot of
close to
work
home
be
yet,
done.
though.
No, I'm trying to stay away from home. We'll go with Northwoods Black for Illinois.
Okay.
The tough part is like Des Moines Challenge. What is that course name?
Who knows?
Because there's also like Harmony Bends, but I don't know. I want to say it's in Missouri. Harmony Bends.
I think you're right. Let me just check. Yeah.
That was a big one for me. Might not have felt like it at home, but that was a big one for me. Okay, and we'll go ahead and go to Fox Run, Vermont.
You're at 10.
Maple Hill, Massachusetts.
It's 11. It's actually called Fox Run Meadows. I'm going to give you credit for that, though. It's close enough.
Hornet's Nest, North Carolina. Boyd Hill, South Carolina.
You only need 2 more, and you haven't even said our home state.
I know. I'm just trying to stay away from it.
Staying away from it.
W.R. Jackson, Georgia.
I think WR might technically be in South Carolina, though.
No, it's
is
in
it
North
in
Augusta. Oh, no, it's in Appling, Georgia.
Oh, okay, you're right.
Nationals Hippodrome was North Augusta, South Carolina. Cliff Stevens, Florida.
All right, you're done. You got it. So that was easy.
Fallen Creek Park, Virginia. I want to know how many I can do.
Okay.
Well,
now you're at.
I'm at 17.
Good job, Hunter.
Harmon Hills, Tennessee.
Technically, now you're wrong though, because you didn't win the 15. So you lost.
No,
the
it's
game
fine.
just
I just
then.
want to know how far.
I think it was at least though.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Oh,
It wasn't
okay,
at least.
okay.
It was in.
We're the at leasters.
I haven't done Pennsylvania yet, have I? Steel Club, Pennsylvania. The golf course that Match Play was at.
Yeah, does that even count?
Yeah, there's a disc golf course there. Can I name any more? I know I'm missing some iconic courses. Because I haven't even hit like there's courses in Oklahoma I should know. I haven't hit them. All right, we'll stop it there. We'll just stop it there. I was
All
at,
right.
what, 18? I'm proud of that.
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you. I don't think I could have done that.
How many
well.
did you expect me to know? I like it
I
when
thought-
you set a boundary and then I'm like, no way, or like, yeah, I think, and then let you let
I
me
just
set
have.
the boundary.
There's just certain ones that are like I have no clue. Like you're like this is one of the ones that I was like I wouldn't be surprised if we can get like 30 states.
I think if I sat here long enough and like kept
If you had a
thinking
map
hard,
in front of you too, like if you had a list of the states, it would be easier. And also if you thought over the whole schedule, like you might. It's tough to know course names though,
that was the tough part.
because like if I said event, you would get like every Pro Tour stop.
Yeah, but the course name at like Des Moines
Yeah.
Challenge, I still don't know.
He doesn't know. Never.
I don't
will.
know what that course was.
We'll never know what it is.
Oh, I didn't even name. What's the one that Delaware is at? Iron Hill. That's in Delaware.
Always was.
So another one. All right. So we need to, now that the season's over.
Hey, we didn't get angry at each other going into the trivia that time.
That's true. Maybe that's why it was so.
That's probably why it was just kind of a boring segment.
You're right. There
Yeah.
wasn't any like emotions.
There was no spite that you had
Yeah.
in your rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because if I would have been spiteful, I'd have been like, you need to name all 50 or you lose.
Also, I hate you.
Yeah.
P.S. I love you. Player of the year.
Player of the
It's
year.
time for the official conversation to happen.
I don't want to have this conversation.
It's time. It's time. It's time. It's
Listen.
time. It's time.
I just want to know. I just want to let you know.
I just want to go on the record that so far I have flip flopped, and I was called out on debate night for flip flopping because I said it's Eagle. There's no way you can say it's Ricky. And then last week's episode or 2 weeks ago, I said it's Ricky, and I was very defendant on that. So now it's time to settle the scales, balance it all. Where are we at?
I've already tied Twitter into proverbial knots because I'm posting memes that go against what I keep contradicting my own opinion. Like first I posted one that like argues for Paul. Well, not really argues, but just makes a meme. And then people called me a suck up and now my feelings are hurt. And then I posted one in favor of Ricky. That one's not getting nearly as much attention. Maybe that says something about Player of the Year. And then I posted a poll, I posted a poll on Twitter to decide the people's champion for this podcast episode. And it was starting off like, okay, Ricky's pretty convincing. It's tightened up a lot. I'm at 468 votes right now. Ricky is at 38%. Paul is at 36%. Eagle at 21%, and 5% say other.
So here's what we're gonna do, okay? Because
that's
we
too
don't
close to call
want
if
we
this
don't
is
want
an
our
election.
opinions to get. We're gonna give our opinion at the end, but we're gonna make a case for each player because this is very, very, very close in my opinion.
Here's what I'd like to say.
Say it.
In the
Say
spirit,
it. You go off.
in the
Say
spirit.
it.
No, I'm just saying in the spirit of like I'm like this is like our declaration to the people who are going to fight about this. In the spirit of sports, you are allowed to have stupid arguments that get very loud over this thing because it's just
That's
one of
what we do.
That is what sports are supposed to be. But you're not allowed to get personally offended about any of it because I will say that it is super close. And you're not a dummy for thinking any one of these people will win Player of the Year. You're not a
That's
dummy.
why we're gonna first make the case for each
Unless
player.
you think it's Paul, then you're a dummy.
We're first gonna make the case for each player.
I'm just kidding.
And
By
then
the
we're
way,
going to say why we think the player that we think is the player of the year is the player of the year. I think that's a fair way to do it. I think that should cause at least
I also
arguing
like to
as
say that
possible.
Hunter bullied me into submission, and that's a compliment to you.
You pulled a total Drew Gibson.
Yeah, you basically
I alphaed him.
he basically shut me up about 20 minutes after we got here this morning. We started talking about it and basically started arguing, and he pretty much bullied me into submission. And there's nothing I can do about it.
All right, so let's start with probably the most controversial one.
I'm basically I just got neutered before the podcast. I was a very aggressive dog, and now I'm just ready for Hunter to tell me what's right.
The frick? Okay.
Best metaphor I had.
I like it. Now you sit there. I'll give you a treat later.
We need to move on.
All right, so we're going to start with the most controversial person that people will make the argument for, which I think is Paul this year. Because up until
A lot of people are making it.
Up until USDGC, Paul was not in the talks.
No.
After USDGC, Paul's in the talks now. So basically, what does Paul's season look like? Biggest thing to consider when you're looking at Player of the Year, in my opinion, is wins. Elite Series wins. Okay.
Sure.
If you look at Elite Series wins, Paul has a national tour, a pro tour, and then he has a major. So
That's
the biggest question mark that you have to ask yourself, you need to look in the mirror before you make an argument with anyone.
Look in the mirror.
Look yourself in the mirror, in the eyes, and say, how much is a major worth?
How many Elite Series wins is a major worth?
Yeah.
I got stuck between, I was 2, yeah, absolutely. And then Hunter was 3, and I was I don't know about that.
So if an
That's
Elite
where I
Series,
got stuck. So ask yourself the same question.
This is the tough thing. If a major is worth 2 Elite Series wins, that ties Paul with Ricky and Eagle's season wins-wise.
Yes.
It depends on how much weight you put on that major. So Paul has basically 3 top-tier wins, but one of them is a major. That's the hard part there. You have to deal with yourself with that one. I don't know the answer for you. You got to figure it out for yourself.
Look in the mirror.
So then let's move on to Ricky's
look in the
season.
mirror. If you don't have a mirror, go buy one.
Ricky's season. He's got, what is it? He's got 4 Elite Series wins.
Yeah.
I believe, I'm looking through this now, 1, 2, 3 of them happened on the Pro Tour. 1 of them happened
That's not relevant.
National Tour.
Not relevant.
It is relevant because we're about to go to Eagle. 3 Pro Tour wins, 1 National Tour win, 4 Elite Series wins.
Does the same thing.
I'm still not counting, 4 Elite Series wins. 4 Elite Series wins, 0 Majors wins. I'm not counting Silver Series wins right now.
He's not counting them, guys.
Not counting them.
Get over it.
Ricky, Paul, Elite Series wins, tied if you count the major as 2 wins.
Right.
Then we go over to Eagle. He played a few national tours. He didn't win any. He played, it looks like, 2 national tours. Okay? So Eagle only played 18 events. Ricky played 24 events. Paul played 24 events. Eagle has 4 Pro Tour wins. So again, we have 4 Pro Tour wins for Eagle, 4 Elite Series wins for Ricky, 2 Elite Series wins for Paul, and a major win for Paul.
Mm-hmm.
So now...
So it seems pretty even so far.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
It gets tough pretty even. So what I decided to do is originally, I wasn't even looking at Eagle yet because I was thinking Ricky was my player of the year coming into this podcast, and then we started debating about Paul, and I was like, well, let me just go Paul to Ricky head-to-head. It looks like they faced off 15 times across the season. It looks like Ricky won 10 of them. Paul won 5 of them. Not wins as far as tournament wins, but head-to-head matchup.
That was the final elbow to the face that I needed me to shut up earlier.
10-5.
That hurt.
But then we brought up Eagle,
So
and we're like, well, Eagle didn't play as many events, but when all 3 of them were there, what is it looking like?
This is the key stat, I think.
So here's a tough one. So when all 3 of them are there, okay, I believe there's half wins because there's ties where 2 of them tied and 1 didn't. So I believe it was 15 events, but hear me out. So basically, when all of them were there, Eagle has 4 wins and 1 tie. So I'm giving him 4.5 points. When all of them are there, Ricky has 5 wins, 2 ties.
Yes.
So I'm giving Ricky 6 points.
Yes.
Paul has 4 wins, 1 tie, 4.5 points. So Paul and Eagle, when all 3 are in the field, Paul and Eagle both came out on top 4.5 times. Ricky came out on top 6 times.
Ricky's the winner.
So therefore, my official stance on Player of the Year this year goes to Ricky Wysocki.
I find that really hard. I just found that really hard to argue with. I found that really hard.
That is my take. But again, I don't think you can be an idiot if you go Paul or Eagle or Ricky.
Now here's my question: if Paul wins the Pro Tour Championship, is he your Player of the Year?
Doesn't matter to me. No, Pro Tour Championship is tough because players get cut so much.
Because of the format.
So you just have basically that means you won 1 round, essentially.
It's true.
It's a tough one. If that was a normal tournament,
To this day.
sure. Yeah, I would agree.
Man, because you gotta understand, people. Let me just. I came in here fighting valiantly for Paul because major championships to me are a big deal. The head-to-head, and I was fighting for him versus Ricky, and then I heard the head-to-head thing, and I was like, that's just a little bit too convincing. Like, Ricky was beating Paul a lot this year. And I am like a guy that cares about wins like over everything, and I want to weigh that major a lot. I think it wasn't enough. I think if he had won the Pro Tour Championship as well, it may have been enough to sway me somewhat. I do agree with Hunter saying.
Well, so let's bring
But
in some counter arguments.
The Paul pick is just too emotional. It's too emotional. I was crying. I was a mess.
There's a whole ordeal.
The Ricky one is just, it makes sense, and I can feel good about it going home today.
Well, let's just bring in some counter arguments
I'd be
though.
Sick.
Okay, because some people were saying Ricky would probably trade his season for Paul's season.
Yeah,
which I agree with that.
Oh my gosh, I just got an eyelash. Keep going.
I agree with that statement. But my big thing is the reason Ricky would change it is for his career. So he has a
The poll is tied. The poll is tied.
It's for his career. So he is a U.S. and a world champion. Okay? This isn't career season. This is player of the year. So when we're looking at player of the year, storylines can't matter. You can't look at storylines because, spoiler alert, I bet Paul would trade his season for James's season so he's a world champion, a 6-time world champion.
Yeah, like trading the trading season thing is so specific to players.
Because it's what they player need. Because Eagle would probably trade with Paul or James because that means he's a U.S. or a world champion and he needs both those titles.
Right.
So you can't. I don't like the trading seasons thing because Ricky, the U.S. championship, means so much to Ricky specifically because he needs that to get in talks of like the greatest of all time.
So the Paul fans are in absolute defense mode in these comments. Would you like me to read?
I would love you to read some of them.
I'm going to read these arguments to you, and then you can.
And then I'll counter them if I can.
Bad. Some of them are pretty bad.
Well, here's the thing: is I think you can defend Paul's season. Like Paul, there is a legitimate fight for Paul to be Player of the Year.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see if any of these accomplish that. So this first one says Paul's average finish this year was 4.65. Ricky's average finish was 4.08. This is counting every sanctioned event they played so far this year. In 2021, besides Paul's single round league. Factor in that one of the wins for Paul is a major. I don't really see how you argue against him. So he was saying the average finish was so close that the major pushes it.
See, what I don't like about that is now why are we rewarding Paul for playing Memorial, just an A tier, Huck Central, another A tier, and Battle for Bedford, a B tier over Ricky?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Why are we and then if you're going to do that.
That's basically what they did with Cat over Page.
Yeah, and I don't like that. When you're going Player of the Year, that's why I went head to head, because when they're both there, who's beating them out? Because then you could say, with that win percentage, if Ricky showed up to Memorial, Huck Central, and Battle for Bedford, he probably would have beat Paul at least one of those, which then takes that away from Paul.
So this next one,
you don't get any extra points for Player of the Year if you showed up to more
PDGA
events.
wise, you do, and I hate that.
Yeah,
because like why is a random A tier going to help decide when there's a full Pro Tour?
right. If there's like nobody there,
that's what happened. That's what
sense.
happened with Paige and Kat. Is Paige dominated the tour, and then Kat dominated the A tiers last year, and so Kat got Player of the Year originally, and the PDGA had to come back and give a co-Player of the Year because they're like, yeah, we screwed Paige.
So this guy here, he's all about the big stage. He says Player of the Year steps up when it matters for the biggest events. 3 biggest events of the year: Worlds, USDGC, DGPT Championship. Eagle finished 8th, 9th, and injured. Ricky 7th, 3rd, and 5th. Macbeth 2nd, 1st, and 3rd.
All right, so our 3 contenders for Player of the Year are Nathan Queen, James Conrad, and Paul Macbeth because they won them. Like, what the frick's
No, it's over all 3 events, man. It's over all 3. You got to have the best finishes.
So are Pro Tours not big events? The Pro Tour, I would say...
Don't look at me when you say this. Look at
I
the
would
phone.
say,
look at the phone. Just look at the
I'm
phone.
just saying, I would say an event like Ledgestone that's at the same course every single year and is Elite Series event every single year, tournament-wise, would probably mean more than Worlds if Worlds wasn't called Worlds.
Yeah, I mean, he's saying he's saying like when the pressure's on the most, which I would agree. Those 3 events, the pressure is on the most. Most money,
sure,
most
but
prestigious.
You can't. So then, like,
I'm still not a good argument.
Yeah, I don't like it because you can't base the Player of the Year on 3 tournaments.
No, I agree. This guy had a similar take. Now, this is an interesting one. This take kind of makes a little bit of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, I'm going to say Paul because majors had such a huge value in last year's decision with Dickerson, so this year should be no different. So she's basically saying, this is a girl here, Tara. She's basically saying, you it's like she's almost saying like from the PDGA's perspective, like,
but we're not coming from the PGA perspective,
right? But
because last year I believe we disagreed with the Dickerson decision.
In that poll, they didn't really know that that's what I was talking about. So I think she's saying like, if there's going to be consistency,
I'm doing what I'm here to do.
If there's going to be consistency, that they should pick Paul because of how much they weighed the major last year, which that's
the reason the major had so much weight last year is there wasn't enough events to counter the major.
Okay.
Because last year was a shortened season. And so each like elite series and stuff was worth so much. It's the same reason that Katrina Allen was able to play a lot of A tiers because there wasn't enough balance of national tour events like there is this year. But I will say last year we did debate back and forth a little bit about Chris Dickerson because like.
See, Eagle had such a narrative going this year because this person said, even though my gut says Ricky, I have to go for Eagle. We forget how dominant he seemed in the middle of the season. And I don't know how much Ricky's Ledgestone win. Oh, I forgot. Oh my gosh.
Ricky has a half win.
We have a fake win. We're idiots.
Oh my word. That's why I kept saying to myself, like, Eagle has more wins than Ricky. When I'm looking at the schedule, why do I think?
Eagle has a fake win.
All right, back to the drawing board. Back to the drawing board here.
Oh my gosh.
What does that mean?
Thank goodness.
Because then if you go Paul to Eagle,
shoot,
head to head, are they tied?
Is Paul going to win Player of the Year at the last hour? Wait, because what does that do to the head-to-head thing, though?
That's tough. It doesn't change the head-to-head.
But it changed the win total.
Well, does it, though?
Yes, it does.
It should be half a win.
It's a half a win. So he's at 3.5.
Man, that's a tough, though.
It's a half a win.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Gosh. What is it? What is Paul and Eagle head-to-head?
We're going to do this live because I didn't even look at that.
It needs to happen because that is huge now.
Wow.
I forgot.
This
is why you don't have co-winners.
Like, yeah, because that just screwed everything.
Make him throw distance competition in the parking lot for all I care. I just need to know who won. I can't do that.
We talked about this last night on how much I hate sports having ties. Okay. All right, someone keep the record here.
Okay.
Actually, I can keep it in my head because there's two people.
Okay.
All right, Eagles up 1. This is Eagle. Eagle to Paul. Eagle to Paul. Eagle to Paul.
I want to hear the score.
Okay.
So
Eagles up 1. 1-0.
1-0.
Then we go to Waco next. 1-1. Paul makes a comeback. 1-1.
Okay.
Texas State. Paul takes the lead. 2-1. Jonesboro. Eagle. 2-2.
Oh my goodness.
DDO. Paul. 3-2.
Oh my goodness.
OTB Open. Eagle. 3-3. Portland Open. Eagle. 4-3.
Oh my gosh. The swing.
Worlds. Paul. 4-4. D-Glow.
Paul.
Eagle.
No, Eagle. He won.
Yep. So what's it? 5-4?
Yeah.
Preserve. Eagle. Ledgestone. Eagle. Idlewild.
7.
Paul.
7-5.
Maple Hill. Eagle.
8-5.
Green Mountain Championship. Paul.
8-6.
USDGC. Paul. 8-7.
You would need 2 on that hand.
8-7.
8-7. Eagle wins. So is Eagle your Player of the Year now?
Dang it! That wasn't convincing at all.
Then he threw out his shoulder doing something silly.
You can't bring that in. You can't. Okay. Now the biggest question is: do we actually have to take away Ricky's win?
Yes, it does not count as a full win. You didn't win. You can't have a win that's equally weighed with a win where you beat everybody to where you beat everybody except one person and then the tournament ended. That's not a win.
But we're penalizing Ricky for a decision that's out of his hands.
Yeah, well, that's kind of just how this is going to have to work, isn't it?
I don't know. I still think you're not stupid if you pick any of them.
No, I would still say you're not stupid.
And so when you look at the head-to-head, then it's got to lean back towards Ricky. Man, that's tough. I don't like this. So it's between Ricky and Eagle.
I think no, it's still with Paul's still in it. I think now. I think he's more in it.
But we just went head to head between Eagle and Paul.
So now
we went head to head between. We got to go between Eagle and Ricky. We got to see Eagle and Ricky.
So Paul and Eagle now. The comparison is 3 wins to 4, right? Is it 3 to 4?
Well, 3, but one's a major.
Yeah, 3 to 4. One more head to head, which is pretty much the same as an extra win. And Paul has a major, I think he overtakes that.
But that's all based on we take away a win from Ricky, which I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can.
Yes, you can. He didn't win it. He didn't beat everybody.
That's tough. Because it's not like
not a win.
I don't like penalizing him for something that's not
we
his
can give him
fault.
a half a win. We can give him half a win, and that would help if they were tied.
But then it goes
But
3.5, and he. Well, head to head, he beat Paul 10 to 5.
Right,
Head to head, he beat Paul and Eagle.
So it's like Paul can't beat Eagle if Ricky can beat Paul, but Eagle beats Ricky.
Well, let's just look at Eagle versus Ricky. Let's look at Eagle versus
somebody
Ricky.
draw.
I need the statisticians back here. I need the score. Okay, Eagles up 1. Ricky comes back 1-1. Okay. Now we're down to. Okay, put your fingers up. 1-1.
1-1. Which one's Ricky's first?
Yeah, they're both 1-1. You can choose which finger's which.
Okay, this is Ricky.
Okay, now Ricky again with Jonesboro.
Okay.
Dynamic Disc Open, they tie. Just leave it, nothing. OTB Open goes to Eagle. Portland Open goes to Eagle. World Championship goes to Ricky. D-Glow goes to Eagle. Preserve, Ricky. Ledgestone, Ricky. Idlewild, Ricky. MVP Open, they tied. Green Mountain Championship, Ricky. USDGC, Ricky.
Oh my gosh, it's a blowout. 8-4.
So Ricky blues out both Eagle and Paul in every category, but you have to take away half a win.
Oh my gosh,
We're knotted up like 3 snakes in a handbag, people.
I've never seen a tighter race.
It's got to go Rick because the only blemish on Ricky's scorecard here
is having less wins.
If you take away a win and penalize him for something he can't control.
I do though. That's so difficult. I
am still leaning to Rick because you go head to head and you go head to head.
I'm going to take James Conner and he won the world title.
Well, the only other argument I have heard was Paul broke the single season money record.
That doesn't count.
But here's the thing about money record
than ever.
Is I think it was Dixon Jowers posted this on a Facebook group.
Just look at how much money he won as a percentage of the total amount of money in the purse.
Well, no, so this is what was going on.
That's all that matters.
So what Dixon did, I thought this was a pretty great stat, is he took the top 10 ranked money earners of the season over the last 5 seasons just to show what the total money was.
Right.
So in 2017, top 10 money earners combined was $350,285. 2018, $367,253. 2019, $363,688. 2020, $293,311. 2021, $575,844.
Yeah, I should tell you everything you need to know there.
And the other thing too is Paul had $88,000 won this year. Ricky, without making it far in the Pro Tour finale or USDGC came at 5th, had $80,000, and Eagle is at $60,000. So if either one of them would have popped off, that's the issue. Is it's so heavy with the last 2 events. Paul won.
Well, yeah, and winning Ledgestone.
Paul won $30,000 his last 2 events. You swing that either way to Ricky or Eagle, and they broke the record.
Purses aren't, because there's not a lot of regulations on purses and there's not a lot of consistency. You could win Ledgestone, which is weighted the same as any other Elite Series as far as everything else, and you win a ton more money because the purse is just huge.
I mean, it's not really a ton. Ricky won Ledgestone and got $8,250.
That's all it was?
He won Preserve and got $7,000. Ledgestone has a really big purse, but they just go so deep.
Okay,
let's put
it this way: they could pay
70th place makes $400 or something.
They could pay out a ton, and it'd be because their purse.
But it was Ricky's biggest money win this year.
Yeah,
was $8,250 at.
There's probably There's probably some that only pay out 5 or 4 or 5.
Right? Jonesboro, he got 6. National Tour, Texas State, he got 5.
Yeah. Okay. So there's discrepancy there.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing is the money thing. It's gonna get broken probably next year.
Yeah,
and it's probably gonna get broken 3 years.
The score keeps growing. Yeah, it can get broken by a guy.
You can say, sure, you can go he earned more, but you can't say than Eagle because Eagle played 10 less events, or 6 less events.
Have to go average.
So then, Ricky and Paul both played the same amount of events, and Paul beat him by $9,000, but it's because in the last 2 weeks Paul beat him by, $20,000 in the last 2 tournaments of the year. So that's tough. That's where that argument to me I understand it. It just doesn't hold enough weight. But there you have it. The player of the year is way closer than we even thought when we started the segment.
A disaster.
I don't. So wait, what is your official stance?
I don't have.
You have to. We can't. This is our official. We're not talking about player of the year again. This is the official stance. I'm leaning it towards Ricky. What are you doing? We'll go to Connor first.
My heart tells me Paul.
That's what my heart's telling me.
Simp.
My brain tells me Paul, and the rest of me tells me Paul. But
All right.
my mind and my head.
Whoa.
I think
I thought that your brain was just that.
I think that Ricky makes the most sense, even though I want it to be Paul so bad.
Trevor, darting it over to you.
I'm really stuck between Eagle and Ricky, if I'm being honest. Like Paul, it's the easiest one to throw out as much as it hurts. The problem is the whole win thing with the fake win with Ledgestone. I was very easily going to commit to Ricky. But now you can literally say, well, Eagle won more events, Elite Series events, and that's a hard one to counter.
But it's hard that you can't because Ricky did get that Elite Series win.
No, he didn't.
Eagle didn't put himself in place to win that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The head-to-head, I think because Ricky bullied both of them in the head-to-head, like it wasn't even close. Like head-to-head, Ricky was beating them more often. Oh my gosh!
But earlier this morning, you were saying you didn't want. You didn't want head-to-head to have anything to do with it.
I feel so silly when Eagle technically won more events, but the Ledgestone thing.
He didn't. You can't say technically. Because technically he didn't.
You're right. I think in my heart he won more events.
There you go. You can say that.
I think I might have to just side on the safety of the numbers, and the number credits Ricky with the win at Ledgestone.
There you have it.
I'm picking Ricky.
We're a three-way Rick. Oh, nope. Ricky is.
Hurts.
But here's the thing: is this is one of the for the next few weeks is probably going to be like super debated back and forth, and forth.
Yeah. Well,
and rightfully so because any of these players could be player of the year.
Well, the actual player of the year will go to.
It'll probably go to Ricky because he won national tour points and pro tour points and he played so many events.
That can't be like if you've been arguing over this with your friends, you can't just listen to the PDGA and be like, "See, I told you so." It's never going to actually be resolved.
Mm-mm.
You're just going to have to present your best case. If anybody has any
really standings.
If anybody has any really groundbreaking statistics that break this thing wide open, please send them to us.
That'd be
Paul
great.
Win.
Tweet them at me.
I'm gonna try to see if they used to post player of the year standings.
I will say this: there is just a stark difference between the Paul and Ricky fans on Twitter. Because if I post a meme coming involving Paul and the player of the year, so many replies and people freaking out. If it has to do with Ricky, not nearly.
Ricky's not.
Maybe it's just that people accept it.
Ricky isn't a polarizing player. Ricky has his Ricky fans that are diehard Ricky fans, but other than that, he doesn't really get.
All right, so as of October 13th of 2021,
it was Ledgestone with the tie, right? We're certain about that.
Yes. As of October 13th, 2021. Ricky was leading the player of the year standings. This is after Paul's win. Yes. Ricky's leading at 750 points, which is, what is that? 75 points ahead of Macbeth, who's in second, and almost 100 points clear of Eagle in third. So Ricky's going to also get player of the year. Now, here's an interesting point. We didn't talk about the FPO player of the year because I thought it was so obviously Paige.
Yeah. Is it
Katrina
not?
Allen's leading the points because Paige had 5 Elite Series wins, so I didn't even bring it up.
How many does if nobody else
get those fingers up? I'm just kidding.
If nobody has more than 3, then it's not.
Well, Katrina Allen is the second closest.
And how many does she have?
I don't know. We're gonna look.
Please tell me it's no more than 3.
Let's see here. Played against
Make this easy.
She won Worlds 2. National tour. She has.
If she has 4 and a world title,
she has MVP Open.
She has 3.
National tour. She has 1, 2. She has 3 plus a major.
Oh my gosh.
And Paige Pierce. Let's just verify this. Oh my God. Paige Pierce has 1.
Oh my gosh, we thought this was gonna be the easier one.
Okay, Paige also has a major.
Yeah, I know she has a major, but
3.
But it's not worlds.
4.
Oh my gosh.
5, 6.
Okay.
And the match play. So Paige won
6 in a major.
Paige has
versus
1,
4 in a major.
2, 3, 4, 5 plus a major.
She has 5 plus a major.
She has 5 plus a major, and Katrina Allen has 3 plus a major.
And only one of those majors actually has any prestige associated with it, and that's the one that Kat won. So that's going to be a tougher argument.
Well, yeah. Well, the tough thing is I would consider Throw Pink Women's to be the U.S. Women's.
Right, and neither of them won that.
No.
That's the thing. U.S. women's was like meant nothing because it just seemed like so.
So Cat has 3
got
plus a
roasted
major,
by Paige.
but you can at least give U.S. women's the status of a national tour event.
Yes.
So then that gives Paige 6, and Katrina Allen has 3 plus a major, which would give her 5.
She has 3 plus a major.
Yeah. Which
okay.
Right?
You said 4.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I thought. It was literally 1 off, and then
Okay.
Cat had the world title, and then
1,
I was like,
2, 3 plus a major.
okay, then I can give it to Paige.
So it goes to
and sleep
Paige.
at
It
night.
goes to Paige. Okay, good.
Okay. Thank goodness.
So Cat I think it's because Paige didn't play many
She
national
scared
tours.
us all right there.
All right, so it is clearly the PDGA is going to say it's Katrina Allen. The player of the year is Paige Pierce. That's why we didn't talk about FPOs. I thought it was a lot clearer than that. It was still pretty clear at the end of the day. We just had a brief scare there.
I think we need to have a Foundation Player of the Year banner that we just fight over each year who gets on it and like hang it up. Like
So this year it's Ricky and Paige. Let's hang it up.
Ricky and Paige.
Put in the banners.
Who did we decide last year?
Dickerson and Paige. Well, MPO we refused to really argue because it was like this year. It was just so we need to go back.
We have to go back.
Should we do it right now?
No.
Okay, we'll do it next week's episode.
Next
we'll talk
week's
about the
episode.
2020 Player of the Year because that's relevant.
We're gonna start going back in time.
No, because last year we were 100% that it was Paige because we were so upset.
It was obviously Paige, but then
It's kind of like this year, like Paige isn't going to win Player of the Year for the PDGA, but
But
she
it's like,
clearly
yeah.
is Player of the Year. It's
can't-
happening again.
Who were we arguing for against Dickerson?
I think it was Paul.
I think it was Paul. I think it was Paul and Dickerson were the two. But I think I remember being like,
I got to look at their seasons.
This is what
I'm just really quickly.
our stance was last year. I remember our stance was
We didn't argue it.
Yeah,
hard.
it was like, okay, I could see how Dickerson was given it. That's fine. But the Paige one's a crime, and there needs to be people in jail.
And you know it, and you know it.
And you know it, you know it.
Okay, let's just
was
go
what we
to
said.
Chris Dickerson's 2020 season, just super quick here. He played good. Oh, it's because he didn't tour the first half of the year.
Yeah. You're just
Okay.
watching him cleaning up everywhere in the Carolinas.
So he
and
won.
Tennessee.
Okay, he won USDGC, which was the big one. And then as I scroll through, he didn't even win a Pro Tour last year. Yeah, he didn't win a singular Pro Tour last year. He just won USDGC.
That's all he won. And it was based off of finishes. What did Paul win? There wasn't a lot of events.
There wasn't. Paul won 2 Pro Tours. Okay, so yeah, it would have been tied by our this year's standings that we just came up with. Okay, so yeah, we'll have to look at that. But Chris Dickerson, that's what it was last year. We were like, it's so close, that's not a crime. Paige Pierce versus Katrina Allen, that's a crime.
It was actual crime.
All right, let's wrap this show up with a make that call.
Ooh. All right.
And there's an interesting one for you, Trevor. Let me paint you in a scenario here. You're playing in a tournament, obviously. Your card mate is returning his disc to his bag about 15 feet away.
Oh, we just talked about this yesterday.
He throws it, hits his bag, it stands up, rolls 60 feet down the hill. I had to look into the rules.
Yeah,
So that's why I
they've
brought
changed
this up.
this like a million times, too.
Hits his bag, rolls 60 feet down the hill. Someone on your card now calls him for a practice throw. Should he be penalized? And if yes, what is the penalty?
Well, there's a practice throw is also like, well, never mind. That's irrelevant. So he throws it how far?
15 feet.
He throws it 15 feet.
Hits his bag, rolls
hits his
60
bag,
feet down the
rolls
hill.
up. Well, I'll put it this way. If anybody called that, I would attack them because obviously that's just being a bully. Man, that's like how if you want somebody to never play disc golf again, call them on something like that. In like their first tournament, they'll never play again.
Don't tempt me.
So the rule used to be a lot more strict because I remember we would literally play collegiate doubles and want to toss a disc back to each other and we'd be like, whoa, get over here.
Yeah.
And then they changed it to where it became like further and you could toss it a few feet. And then I used to know this rule. There's just no way. I know they rewrote these rules in a way that makes it so that this pretty much doesn't happen. So I'm going to say it's not a practice throw, but I don't really know why. So that's kind of a poor effort from me.
That's fine. Yeah, you're correct. It is not a practice throw. Throw of less than 5 meters in the air or 15 feet. So 15 feet or less. I guess I should have said 14 feet, but same thing. Throw of less than 5
So it's
meters
in
in
the
the
air.
air
That's
to
the
return a disc
distinction.
is not a practice throw.
But 20 feet and you're practicing.
Yeah, but realistically, I think there's
That's
also
valid though. Catch me putting 15 footers back to
no, because there is a rule written in
What's
there
the
somewhere.
rule?
Let me read you the official
What's
rule.
the rule? I was say because I'm about to invent a bag that has a kickstand that makes it basket height, and you can putt back to your bag after you miss a putt. You turn around, you just putt it right at your
Okay,
bag.
a practice throw is any throw that is not made as a competitive attempt to change the lie, except for throwing that is made to either set aside or unused disc, or to return a disc to a player and that travels less than 5 meters in the air. A
You're
drop is
returning
not a
the
practice
disc.
throw. Player receives 1 penalty throw for making it. The throw itself is discarded.
You're returning your disc.
You know, you might be right there.
My bag is.
I thought
I'm
there
going
was
to make
something
a
about
bag
intent.
that's literally a basket. It doubles as a basket.
I thought there was something about intent, but there's not.
Come on now.
Too easy.
That is too easy. I'm gonna be practice putting back to my bag all day long.
You need it, man. All right, that's gonna
You're not wrong. I don't have any.
that's gonna
defense.
wrap up this episode. Be sure to let us know. Tweet at us at FDG Hunter, at FDG Trevor, and at FDG_Silas.
I was like, what?
And let us know what you think. Who is your player of the year? You can also check us out on on Twitter at GripLockedPod, I believe. We're gonna post the official GripLocked poll there. We'll use Trevor's as a preliminary, or maybe I'll just retweet your poll
Okay.
in case there's any crossover.
Poll?
The people's poll. But let your voice be heard over there. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or something, feel free to shoot us a DM. Or if you're watching on YouTube, comment down below what you think and what your case is for whoever you're picking as player
Paul
of the
is
year.
taking the lead in that poll. It's a popularity contest.
It is popular. Whenever it's a poll on Twitter, it's always popularity contest.
My favorite thing is when people say they obviously are biased toward. Let's say it's like Ronaldo versus Messi, and they'll be like for Ronaldo, retweet for Messi. Like they'll make it harder to vote for somebody because you have to retweet instead of just liking it. Like, what are we doing?
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna say
That's actually really funny. You should do that.
it should be like, who's player of the year? Like for Ricky, retweet for Paul.
Or people will like joke about it and they'll be like for so and so, and then reply with a 500-word essay for the other person.
That'd be funny. So yeah, that's gonna wrap it up. Also, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. Let us know what you think of the show, how we can improve, what you would like to hear, what you didn't like to hear, and we listen to those, take them very seriously. Patreon, if you're a Patreon member, any Patreon member, $5 tier and up, head over there. We're about to shoot the Bogey Bro banter. That'll also be posted. That's a weekly additional podcast. If you pay $5 a month, you get an episode of that each week. Plus, you get access to the archives of all the previous episodes.
Can we do a disc tier list for the banter today?
Heck yeah, that sounds great.
I had an idea of that.
That'd be super fun.
Okay,
All right,
so
let's
that's
head
what you're
into
missing.
let's head into the disc tier list for the Bogey Bro banter, and we'll see you next week for the start of the. I was matching Connor's energy. He was like fist pumping me. The start of the off season.
Yeah.
You're gonna love some of these segments. You might hate them.
We're
I don't know.
turning
Come
into a
back next
smoothie
week.
podcast. We're just going to talk about smoothies.
It's because our voices are so smooth.
No, it's because like frozen fruit and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see you in the next one.